Small and Rural Libraries Association, so we're very excited to have this great program. On behalf of the Acton Public Library and the Board of Trustees, we hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you. All right, so let me start off by officially introducing myself to those of you who don't know who I am. I am Mr. Drew. These are just a few of my animals. If you get a chance, maybe this summer or something, you can come see all my animals at our education center in Lewiston. We have over 200 animals we take care of. And we take in what the Humane Society doesn't. Which means if you've ever been to an animal shelter before, they have puppies and kittens and cats and dogs and bunnies and guinea pigs and lots of cute, fluffy animals. I don't do cute and fluffy. I do creepy, crawly, scary animals. I do animals people think are bad. I do animals people don't understand. And I do animals a lot of you might be scared of. And I travel all of Maine and New England and virtually around the world. As a matter of fact, today I leave here in Acton. I go to Reedfield. When I'm done in Reedfield, I go to Orono. So I travel all over the state. I get to have fun with lots of people, meet lots of people, go to great little towns and stuff. It's fun. And I get to explain why there's no such thing as a bad animal. There's no such thing as a bad animal. No matter what animal you can think of, you might not like it for whatever reason. It does not mean it's bad. I don't like mosquitoes and ticks. But they do serve a purpose for other animals on our planet. And so everything is related, everything is connected, and everything is important. Now, I also don't buy animals. Our animals come to us as surrenders. In some cases, they're very sick. Sometimes we get them in. A lot of veterinarians don't work with my animals, so I have to do my own work, and I've been doing it for over 40 years now. And also, a lot of my animals are illegal in Maine. You're not allowed to have them. You're not supposed to have them without permits or consent from the state. And so we end up working with a lot of game wardens taking in these animals. So we do all these things with the state and kind of meet people to help them out understand what's a good pet, what's not and why, and etc. So I'm going to take all my animals out. I'm going to talk about them. And if you are scared of something I have, it is okay to be scared. There's nothing wrong with being scared. Being scared keeps you safe. Okay. All right. And I tell everybody I meet, if you are scared of anything in life, try to learn about it. The more we learn about something, the less scared we're going to be. And hopefully if I do my job right, you'll be a little less scared of a few of my animals. All right. That all being said, I have two questions that commonly get asked, and I please ask you to hold on to your questions because of time constraints, and so we can get through all the animals. We're going to hold on to our questions. The two questions I always get are, can we touch the animals?
No.
I'm going to have some you can. And it's going to be a little bit of organized chaos, but how we're going to do this is we're going to kind of divide the room up. It's kind of like one section here, one section here, one section here. So I have a few of them that we'll be able to touch for a little bit and stuff like that. And the next question I always get, no matter where I'm at, is does it bite? That's a good question. Does it bite? Well, anything with a mouth can bite. You guys can bite. So yeah, you have a mouth, right? And so I ask you, please don't bite my animals. And they won't bite you. So be fair. So, all right, that being said, let me ask everybody here to raise their hands. How many people here like bugs? Anybody go around catching bugs? I love bugs. I love bugs. The reason why I love bugs so much is just the ants. Will answer bugs. And spiders? Alright, I love bugs. 84% of animal life on our planet is bugs. That means if we took every animal in the world, every mammal, bird, reptile, amphibian, arachnid, crustacean, worm, fish, anything that wasn't a bug, and we made a big pile of animals. The pile of bugs would be 3 times bigger. There's enough for 2.5 billion insects for every person alive on this planet. And when I was your age, and have you guys sit down, when I was your age, there was even more bugs. And bugs are declining because of us. Bugs are on the decline because of humans. And you know what happened? The pandemic came, and I couldn't go to libraries, and I couldn't go to schools, and I couldn't do birthday parties. I couldn't do anything. I wasn't an essential business. So you know what I did? I became essential. I became a bug farmer.
Oh.
Yeah. I started farming bugs. Yeah, I started raising bugs because a lot of my animals need to eat bugs. And I had to raise bugs for other people's pets. So we sell insects now to a lot for people, their animals. And I raise bugs for people to eat. Yeah, I do a whole program on entomology, eating insects. And I brought some bugs with me that people hate. They automatically hear the name and they think they're bad. And that's cockroaches. Oh, yeah. I love cockroaches. First of all, there are 30,000 species of cockroaches in the world. And out of 30,000 species, only 30 are harmful to humans. The rest are good. These guys are good guys. These guys live on the island of Madagascar. Oh, have a seat, guys, so the people back can see. There you go. These guys live on the island of Madagascar. What do? They clean the island. That's what cockroaches do. They clean. These guys right here, they eat all the leaves that fall to the ground. They clean it up. They eat all the fruit that falls from the trees. They clean it up. These guys make a thing called compost, which is important for the soil and the plants. And these guys here also plant trees. Yeah, that's some important stuff when you live on an island. Now, on the island of Madagascar, there is an animal called a lemur, and lemurs love to eat these guys. Lemurs, you know why? Because they're crunchy on the outside and they're creamy in the middle. No, it's true. Just like an Oreo cookie, right? Crunchy on the outside and creamy in the middle. And also, what happens with these guys? You know what? These guys take on the flavor of the foods they eat. That means if I feed them apples, they're going to taste like apples. If I feed them oranges, they're going to taste like oranges. And if I feed them bananas, they're going to taste like... It's like eating Skittles. You don't know what you're going to get. And on the island, the lemurs jump out of the trees. And the lemurs start moving leaves looking for food. And the lemurs will hear... On the island of Madagascar, there's a snake that loves to eat lemurs. It's called the giant ground boa. And if the lemurs hear a hiss and they don't know where it's coming from, they sound the alarm, they jump back into the trees where they're going to be safe. And it's really these guys here. These are called Madagascar hissing cockroaches, and they hiss to scare away predators. Now mine don't hiss. Mine don't hiss because I, Mine don't hiss because I often will take one, and I might do this. Sorry, guys. Does everybody go to the bathroom? No, you can eat these guys. Really, you can. Quiet guy when he works again. Yeah, it's hard to believe my wife still kisses me because I'm These are actually edible, which means you can actually eat these guys. They're actually rather nutritious for you. And there's a lot of insects all around the world that are wonderful and a very important option for our planet. Next is the #1 fear in the world. More people are scared of this animal than any other animal. In Maine, we have 630 known species to live here. And in Maine, every single one of them is venomous. But not one of them is dangerous. And it is also the most important animal on our planet, and that's spiders. Scared of spiders. And let me explain why. First of all, I said in the beginning of our program that 84% of animal life was insects. If every spider dies tomorrow, there's no more spiders on our planet. There would be a lot of happy people. But the human race would only have 1 year to live. Because spiders are the #1 predators of insects. And spiders eat all the bugs that eat our food. Spiders eat the bugs that eat our food. And spiders eat the bugs that make us sick. If we have no spiders left on our planet, humans would be resorted to using pesticides more than we do now. And people would be spraying pesticides. We'd be poisoning our air, our water, our soil, our food, ourselves. We'd be killing off the pollinators. And think about this, all the apple orchards that are here. Roll back up the road and all the other apple orchards wouldn't exist. We need spiders, they help us. Because once we kill off the pollinators, there's nothing left. And so, spiders are important. Now, that being said also, I know a lot of people don't like them, but you can walk up to any spider in Maine. You can sit there and you can look at all the details and the beauty as it's sitting on its web, and never, ever, ever will it sit there as you approach it and look at you and go, look, a human! Spiders don't care about you. Spiders want to eat bugs. They do not chase people, they will not run after people, they will not attack people for no reason. Spiders just want to be left alone. Now this is a tarantula. This is, and if this tarantula bites me, do you know what happens? I say ow. That's it. That's it. It is venomous, but it's not dangerous. Anybody here allergic to bees? Got a couple of people? A few people. All right, now let me ask this question. How many of you have been stung by a bee? Pretty much most of us. Bees are venomous. Bees are a venomous animal. Has anybody ever been bitten by a garter snake? Garter snakes are venomous. Yeah, and you survive. So just because something is venomous doesn't mean it's dangerous. Now, I've been working with tarantulas 35 years. I've only been bitten one time in 35 years. It was on purpose because I wanted to know the warning signs. And they really don't want to waste their venom on something they can't eat. They'd rather be left alone. Now, one of the things about the tarantulas, if I drop this tarantula right on the floor, yeah, some of you would run. But the truth is, it would break like an egg and die. Oh, sympathy. Yes. I'm doing good. Yeah, they're very, very delicate. So all those things you see in movies aren't real. And another thing is, if you held out your hand, this tarantula would touch you with 1 foot, and she'd take it away. She wouldn't go on you. She smells with her feet. And so you smell different than me. And so if she doesn't know who you are, she's not going to go on you. She's very shy. She's very cautious. So think about this. You smell with your nose. She smells with her feet. You guys have smelly feet. Right? So, and that's what she's doing right now. You see how she's holding her legs up kind of high, like lifting them up? She's actually sensing what's going on and stuff, so she's kind of getting a bearing for where she's at. So, spiders are amazing and important. They say there's an estimate of 27 million tons of spiders that live on our planet, and they eat 880 million tons of bugs each year. They're very important. And I tell people, you don't have to like them, love them, hug them, squeeze them, or call them George. But you don't have to hurt them either. Leave them alone. Let them eat the bugs so they can help us out. Now one more thing, or two more things. This tarantula, rather than biting, you know what it's going to do to protect itself? It's going to use its hair. The hair on its body. Have you guys ever gotten a splinter in your finger? You can't see it, but you can feel it? Imagine now you're an animal and you're like, ooh, I'm going to eat this. And you come up and start sniffing. She takes her back legs and she flicks hairs in the face of the animal. And those hairs are called hurricane hairs. So imagine you have 100 splinters now in your eyes. Yeah, the animal goes, ow, 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 and she can walk away, didn't have to bite it. And the last thing I want to say about tarantulas, this is a female tarantula, and she can live for 20 years. Wow. Yeah, and the boy tarantulas, they only live for 5 years. Yeah, that's because girls are smarter than boys. And boys, the sooner you learn that, the better off you'll be in the future. Now, my next animal has been alive on our planet for 430 million years. It was around before the dinosaurs were. And these guys here, they don't live in Maine. These guys here don't live in Maine. They're only found in jungles and deserts. And a lot of people think they're really bad too. And that's scorpions. Scorpions are so cool. Scorpions are an amazing animal. These guys right here, they're quite amazing, and they're not out to get you. A scorpion is only dangerous if you're not paying attention. As a matter of fact, if this one stings me, again, I'm just going to say ow. But they don't want to sting people. They don't want to bother me. I can take this scorpion, shake it up in my hands. Doesn't matter. He knows I'm not hurting him. This scorpion is called an Asian forest scorpion. And if this scorpion stings me, it's worse. A bee sting is actually worse. Now, some scorpions are dangerous, but this one is not. And a lot of people see the claws. A lot of people see the claws and they think they're related to crabs and lobsters. But they're really not. They're actually related to spiders. They're the older cousins of spiders. And you know what those claws are for? Someone said pinching? They're not. You guys, I want you to show me what they're for. How do you guys hold a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Oh, yeah. You make claws with your hands. You pick up your food, you take a bite, you put it down. Their claws are for holding their food. Not for pinching. So, can they pinch? Yes, they can. Do they pinch? No, they don't. Not usually. And so these guys here are amazing. Now, one of the coolest things about a scorpion is how it sees. They don't see like you and I do. And if it was really, really, really dark in here, it was nighttime, we wouldn't be able to see this scorpion. Our eyes don't work good in the dark. But these guys see really well in the dark. These guys see under a thing called the ultraviolet spectrum. I grew up in the 70s, and I had black lights all over my room, and Zeppelin posters. It was a great time. But anyhow, this is how a scorpion sees another scorpion. They flow under the ultraviolet spectrum, and so that's what they see. And they see us differently as well. So they don't see a black animal. And the neat thing about the scorpions are, even their fossils glow after millions of years. They still carry that protein that allows them to do that. I just wanted to fall out of my hand. Here, I'm gonna hold your tail. There we go. So these guys are pretty cool animals. Now, if you're outside in Maine, you will not see a scorpion outside. They don't live here. It's too cold. So only in warm climates, deserts, and jungles. We do have scorpions in the United States, and they can pack a wall up and send you to the hospital. But generally speaking, scorpions sting in defense. If one was in my shoe, and I put my foot in my shoe, he's got no place to go, he's going to sting me. That's defense. If he's on the couch and I sit down on him, now there's a big butt sitting on him. He's going to sting me. But other than that, they don't sting to be mean. So, it is defense only. All right. Zone here. We're never going to make it on David Letterman this way. Starter, you just peed on him. Anyhow, if you've ever caught a toad, that's what happens. They pee on you. So thank you for showing up. Anyhow, this toad right here is one of the most poisonous toads in the world. This toad, at this size, if the dog eats it, the dog would die. At full size, 2.5 pounds. This toad gets eaten by a saltwater crocodile, the crocodile would die. That's how poisonous they are. Now, it's not going to poison me, because the poison glands are on the head, and the pee is not poisonous. And no, I cannot get warts from a toad peeing on me. If that were the case, I'd be one big wart. Thanks to you. So this toad, a long time ago, before there were even books in libraries, stories were told to children to teach them important lessons. And parents would tell their children these stories so that they would learn something. And then kids would grow up and share those stories with their children. And those stories would get passed on every generation. And like any story that gets told, it gets changed a little bit here and there. It gets embellished a little. Then eventually they started publishing books. And these two brothers called the Grimm brothers, they could take these stories that were told by different cultures and they put them in a book form for the first time. And people got to read these stories from all over. And of course these books got published in different languages, and language changes the meanings of the story. And eventually we got to know the stories as fairy tales. And there's one story called The Frog Prince, or you guys might know it as The Princess and the Frog, right? You know that story? Right? Alright. So, what happens in the story? She kisses the frog, and what happens? In the new version, she kisses the frog and she becomes a frog. Well, that's a crazy story to tell kids. But the original story was she kisses the frog. She was sad and lonely. She kisses the frog and it becomes a prince. Can that really happen? But it kind of did. See, the original story was a little different. The original story was she kisses the frog. It becomes a prince. It kind of did happen because the poison on the frog got on her lips. As the poison got into her body, it affected her brain. It caused a thing called hallucination. She started seeing things that weren't there. And then she died happily ever after. Yeah, The original story was pretty gruesome. Bedtime stories are always fun in my house. Yeah, the original point of the story was to teach children not to kiss frogs. But we've forgotten the true meaning of the story. And so now I hear parents all the time kidding around, saying, oh, if you kiss it, it'll become a prince. Well, depending on the species, if you kiss it, it might be a trip to the ER. So kids, please don't kiss frogs. They don't like it either. So that was the point of the story, not to kiss frogs. And we're going to put this guy back. I'm going to clean up his mess in my hand. Oh yeah, you have to clean up the mess. This is dirty laundry. Things poop and pee, you know. Alright, let me clean this up so I don't crack it all over the time. Okay. Alright. Here, this is yours. You can have it. There we go. My next animal is from the state of Maine. We take them out. Most of our animals are exotic. They come from somewhere else around the world. But we do work with Maine reptiles and amphibians, and we help the state out a lot. This next guy is from the state of Maine. He is Maine's most misunderstood animal, and they are my favorite animals. I love these guys. And that is Snappy Turtles. I love Snappy Turtles. Now, let me say a few things here. Please, if you see a Snappy Turtle outside, do not pick them up. Leave them alone. They will bite you, but it's not because they're mean. A lot of people think Snappy Turtles are mean. And a lot of people hurt Snappy Turtles on purpose, because of stories that get told that aren't true. Now, Snappy Turtles are not mean. If you swim in a lake in Maine, you all swim with Snappy Turtles. And they're not going to bite you. They know you're there. Another thing is, they cannot bite your toes off. They're not that strong. Give me the left. Thank you. Now, this one doesn't bite. This one doesn't bite because why? This was him when I found him. And I found him 7 years ago. He was frozen to the ground. Oh. He was a little tiny guy. Now please remember, you're going to start seeing baby turtles. They are wild animals. And please leave them wild. Turtles are not easy pets. A lot of parents will go, it's a turtle. How hard can it be? There's a lot of work. So don't leave turtles wild. We didn't let him go though. We found him, he was stuck to the ground, he was stuck in ice, and it was late October. And you know how it is in Maine in October, right? You're at the apple orchard, your favorite sweater, drinking your pumpkin spice latte from Dunkin'. And then all of a sudden by 4 o'clock, it's dark, it's cold, it's miserable, and that's what happened. We think a bird dropped him. It was a beautiful day that day, but we think a bird dropped him. We're not in a nesting area. And there he was, stunned probably, and then it got cold, and he froze. So I went to go pick him up, realized he was frozen, I poured water on him, and I got him up. I said, I'll bring him home, I'll take care of him for the winter, we'll make sure he's okay, and I'll let him go in the spring. 7 years later, here we are. I didn't let him go. I didn't let him go for a couple of reasons. One, I found out he liked to have his chin rubbed. And I thought, wow, that's really weird for a Snappy Turtle. The other thing I found out is if I put him on the floor, he would look for me, try to climb up my leg. If I was sitting on the floor, he'd climb in my lap and take a nap. And I said, that's really weird for a Snappy Turtle. Then I found out he likes blankets. I said, he's never going to survive in the wild. But the real reason I didn't let him go is because he had lost his fear of humans, and I was afraid someone would hurt him if he approached them. Because he has no fear of people. And so here we are, he's an ambassador now. Now you do not want to pick up a Snappy Turtle outside because they are scared. And if you pick them up this way, the reason why they're scared is they don't have a full shell on their bottom. He doesn't have a shell on his bottom like other turtles do. So he can't hide inside his shell, which means an animal can come up to him and grab him anywhere and hurt him. So to protect himself, he bites. Now, if you're not certain what kind of turtle you have, the way to tell, it's a snapping turtle, this long, dinosaur-like tail. This long tail tells you it's a snapping turtle, because in Maine, all other turtles have short tails. Also, we have 7 species of turtles in Maine, 4 of them are endangered, so that's one reason not to take them home if you don't know what it is. But other than that, any turtle in Maine, if you stick your finger in their face, they're going to bite you. It doesn't have to be a snapping turtle. I don't like someone's finger in my face, I bite you. Right? Right. Now, please do not pick him up. One, he has sharp claws that can cut you or scratch you, and this incredibly long neck can reach to his back legs and bite you. So he can actually bite me right now if he wanted to. And don't pick him up this way, because they can throw their head back and they can bite you, or they can do it this. Don't kiss snapping turtle. Now, one more thing we don't want to do is you do not want to pick them up by their tail. That hurts them. I see a lot of low-meaning people, they get them out of the road, they want to get them out, and they pick them up by their tail, but that hurts them. You wouldn't pick up a cat or a dog by its tail and go, excuse me, Fluffy. And also, if you pick them up by his tail, I'm holding his shell. If you pick them up by his tail that long, then he'll bite your leg. So, if you have to move a snapping turtle out of the road, give them a tree branch to bite and drag them the direction they're going, or get behind them, give them a nice clear path, direct traffic, have people wait, they'll go. If there's an opportunity to get out of there, they will. Now, turtles are not slow, they can run, jump, climb trees and fences. And these guys have been around 90 million years. They were alive when Tyrannosaurus Rex was. Now, he cannot come out of his shell. His shell is part of his body. He grows with it his whole life. And he can feel it when you touch his shell. So, when they get hit by a car, they feel that. It hurts. Every year we probably repair about 30 turtles that we can save. And there's a lot we have to put down because they can't. So, please be careful with snapping turtles. But if you leave them alone, they will not bother you. Now, he is a turtle and not a tortoise, and there is a difference between the two. And what makes him a turtle is not his size. It's not how big he's going to get. It's not his shape of his shell. What makes him a turtle is his legs. His legs can rotate in any direction very fast. And he has feet that can grab, so he can pull himself out of water. Turtles can swim, tortoises can't. So I'm going to show you a little tortoise here. I'm going to put him aside, this guy down. So turtles swim, tortoises can't swim. This little guy here, he's illegal in Maine. You can't own him. Yeah, see, that's the problem. That's the problem when we get pets. Everybody sees this little tortoise and goes, aww. This little tortoise is illegal in Maine because, one, it is the 3rd largest species of tortoise in the world. Full grown, it will weigh over 200 pounds. It's no longer, it's wrecking your sheetrock walls. And your toilets. They actually break toilets. And the real reason this little turtle is illegal in Maine is because it lives over 150 years. This little tortoise is going to outlive everybody in this room. This little tortoise right here will live 5 generations, which means these kids here, their great-grandchildren and beyond will be alive. And this tortoise will still be alive. And the state of Maine says, who's going to take it? It's not a diamond ring you could put away in a box and just hand it on. It's a living animal. And what happens to them when they're not taken care of is this. Now, I'm going to spin it this way. There we go. You see that? mountains. It looks really cool. But when I got this tortoise, he was very sick. As a matter of fact, when I got this tortoise, his shell was like rubber. This tortoise right now weighs 50 pounds, but when I got him, it was barely that. He should be 100 pounds right now. He's 35 years old or so. This tortoise still has 125 years to live. It's still going to outlive everybody in this room. And so we don't stop and think about that when we're buying this little tortoise and go, "Aww, isn't it cute?" Same animal. And we really need to think about that. Now what I'm going to do is going to get a little chaotic. I want you all to stay where you're at. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to put them down here, so you guys can have a chance to touch them if you want. So anybody in this area can come. Then we're going to come over here, and then we'll go over here. So you guys stay in your seat over here. And this guy comes from Africa, and where he lives, lion cubs love to practice hunting on him. But his front legs are so spiky that he can hide in his shell, and the claws of the lion can't get to him. And so they'll use those spiky legs to protect themselves. An elephant will never step on this guy, because this is like stepping on a Lego with bare feet. So an elephant will move them out of the way. Once you let him chance to touch it, make sure he moves so someone else can have a turn. Alright, can you lift something heavy? Always use your legs and not your back. Now, if you guys move a little bit, there we go. And in this area now, and it will be you guys next. Actually, I'm going to have you guys move a little bit so I can put it in the middle. you had a chance to touch her, move aside so the other kids in the back can too. Give everybody a turn here. You guys did nice. All right, sit back and lean closer back. All right, you guys sit aside now. So that's the TARDIS. TARDIS has been on Snappy Turtles 10. Our next animal is a very common one, and please remember, if you are going out to buy any animal, I don't care if it's a cat, dog, frog, lizard, horse, bird, snake, do your homework. Learn about it before you buy the animal. If you have questions, you can reach out to me. I don't mind helping. I want what's best for the animal, and I want you to be successful with the animal. Don't buy on impulse. Too many people go to the big box stores and they're there to sell you, not tell you. They don't know what they're selling you. They can't tell you anything about it other than a basic care sheet. I get every year probably 200 of these guys in. Bearded dragons. I get bearded dragons in 6 at a time. I get bearded dragons in because the pet store says they're an easy lizard to take care of. And they can be if you do your homework. And bearded dragons are an amazing lizard. You can take them, pick them right to you, clean your house, and they'll hang out with you. These guys are quite cool lizards. And the nice thing about them is every single one of them in the United States is born in the United States. We don't take any from the wild. And so that's important to know when you're buying an animal. Is it wild caught or is it captive bred? A wild caught animal is going to be very sick. A wild caught animal is going to look at you as a predator. A wild caught animal is going to most more likely die. Captive bred animals are much healthier and they're not scared of humans. If you were in Australia and you saw a bearded dragon on the ground, you couldn't pick him up and stick him to you. He wouldn't let you do that. He'd be scared of you. And when bearded dragons are scared, they do a couple of things. One, when they're scared, an animal might come up to him and say, "Hey mate, I'm going to eat you." And what the bearded dragon's going to do is he's going to flatten his body out. He's going to make himself look much bigger. And by flattening his, they call it pancaking. And he's going to turn his body sideways so he looks really big. And on his shoulders right here, 2 patches, they get very black and they lift up. And now it looks like 2 eyes looking back at the animal. Then his beard puffs out. And his beard gets black. And he opens his mouth and he looks at the animal and he goes, "Ah." Make one kid uncomfortable. And they come back big and tough. They try to scare away that animal. Because if they look tough and they act tough, maybe the animal will say, "Sorry, Nate, thought you were someone else." But sometimes, you know what happens next? Sometimes the animal's like, "I'm still going to eat you." And you know what he does now? If he thinks he's going gonna get eaten. He gets up on his back legs and he goes, ah! He runs away as fast as he can. Now, I want you to understand something. I want you to realize they don't scream, okay? I don't want you going to Australia looking for screaming animals. They don't do that. It's very quiet. And he will run. He will run and he'll find a place to hide himself, very flat. And when he does that, the outside of his bodies are all full of spikes. So he sits there and he starts sniffing around going, I know he's around here somewhere. And I can smell him. And then he finds him and goes, ow! Ow! He's a bloody cactus! Would you want to lick those spikes? No. You wouldn't want to lick all that. So they defend themselves by getting in a flat position to hide. But fortunately, we never see that behavior in captivity because they're not scared of us. So make sure you buy captive bred animals. Now, this guy is not a captive bred animal. They're usually always wild caught. This guy was found in a snowbank, and he was kind of an interesting story how we got him. But anyhow, they're usually very aggressive. This is called the Savannah Monitor, and the Savannah Monitor is related to Komodo dragon. And he has that tongue. Look at that tongue that comes right out. That's how he smells. He smells with his tongue, much like a snake in its form. And it tells him what direction his food is in. So imagine if you could smell with one nostril or the other. That's what his tongue does. So you smell with your nose. He smells with his tongue. Spiders smell with their feet. And you guys still have stinky feet. So anyhow, this guy here now is normally a very aggressive animal. They're usually, if you go and get one of these guys, they'll if you change their water dish, they will attack you. But this guy doesn't. He's very laid back. His name is LB. LB stands for lazy bones. He's the laziest animal on the planet next to my brother-in-law. And he's gonna go to the bathroom. There we go. We're gonna put... See, this is why we have a basket for dirty laundry.
When you gotta go right?
He is the laziest animal on the planet, does absolutely nothing, but I did manage to teach him some tricks. So I'm going to place him right on this. I think I'm going to place him on this. Let's see, put that right here. Alright. Yeah, I think I'll put it up here. Alright, let me pick him up here. I'm going to put him right here. Move this a little bit. Alright, there we go. Alright. I need him very quiet so he can hear my commands. Okay, you ready? LB, stay.
Right.
Sit! Isn't he good? Yeah, he's really good. He listens well. Alright, ready for the next one? LB. Lay down! Oh, yeah. He's really good. Alright, let's see what happens. I'll put him up here for this one. The grand finale. We'll turn him this way. And let's see what happens later. Alright, stay. Alright, this is rocking. Alright. This one took him a while to learn. He's still working on it. LB. Oh, you're not going to play dead, are you? Play dead! Oh, you can do it. Well, you know what? I bet you guys have dogs. You still don't listen this well. Come on now. Now you're not going to move. That's it. Now you're going to play. So this Savannah Monitor, he is not an aggressive animal, but they are a powerful animal. I'm having fun with them. But please remember, when we're buying an animal, we need to learn as much as we can, because this guy does have a venomous bite. If this lizard bites you, it's like a pair of pliers crushing your finger. And he'll twist and turn, and he'll rip out a chunk of flesh. You'll need to get antibiotics. And so please, it is important that we learn about our animal before we buy them. sick? This is an Argentine black and white tegu. These are the smartest lizards in the world. They can use that tongue, and they can find an animal nest up a tree. They can find an animal nest underground, underwater. They can smell an animal 3 miles away and follow it. These guys are intelligent. They learn their names. They'll come when you call them. They recognize their owners by sight, sound, and smell. They're very aggressive in the wild, but in captivity, they're like, oh, you feed me, I love you. And these guys, even though they come from South America, they are now found in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina. This is the only lizard in the world that can run itself up. And I'm going to put them down for you guys to touch. So, roll it up. He feels like a football or a basketball. Remember, once you got a chance to touch him, back up so other people can get in. And everybody over here, don't worry, I'm going to come that way. Yeah. You guys can touch them, let some other kids in. It's called a tegu. It's a lizard. Alright. I'm going to pick them up so the people over here can reach a little better. The ones in the back. Yeah, alright, come here, big guy. Here you go. Alright, you guys move back there. There you go. Alright, you guys come down here. Here we go. to understand how they work? All right. A couple more animals to show you and we'll be done. This one here is new for us. We just got her recently, so I just taken her out. She's a beautiful animal. She's over 20 years old, and she's quite amazing. She's the number 3 fear in the world. Number 1 is spiders. Number 2 is the IRS. You'll see the top. And number 3 is snakes. From Central America and Panama. Share is not venomous. Snakes are very important animals. A lot of people do not like snakes, but we need snakes. Snakes reduce pests. Snakes reduce disease. Snakes help prevent house fires by eating the rodents that chew on our wires in our homes. Snakes protect our food, and snakes aren't out to get you. Now in Maine we have 9 species of snakes, and we have this one that's related to this. This is a Maine snake called the Eastern milk snake. It is related to this milk snake. This snake right here eats 2,500 ticks in a season. Snakes are beneficial. So I tell people you don't have to like it, but we don't have to hurt them. Now snakes have evolved, and they've become very adaptive to live in every environment around the world except for extreme cold. So, this is an amazing animal. Now, I've got a couple more to show you. So we're going to move on to them. Now, if you're wondering why we keep them in bags, it's because in these containers here, they can push them open and get out. And they don't do it while I'm presenting, they do it while I'm driving. And then they end up going to the dashboard where it's nice and warm. And then Mr. Drew uses a lot of colorful metaphors to try to get them out. This one I actually did surgery on. I had to remove the end of its tail. It got crushed. And so we removed the tail. He's doing fine though. This was a while back. And he comes from a place called Papua New Guinea. I just like saying Papua New Guinea. And in Papua New Guinea, these guys are treated more like dogs. They bring him into the farms in Papua New Guinea to guard the farms from rodents and birds. They protect the rice, and it's called the New Guinea water python. Tail's missing. Now this is a python, and we hear a number of things. People often hear stories how pythons kill people. First of all, saying python is like saying dog. There are big pythons and there are little pythons. Not all pythons are deadly. Some can be. But more people get killed by dogs than snakes. Yeah, more people get killed milking cows than by snakes. More people get killed by lightning than by snakes. Yeah, and more people get killed, true statistic, by falling vending machines than snakes. Snakes have no interest in us, and they really don't want to be bothered by us. Now, some of the bigger snakes can consume humans, but it is rare. And this python now, it wraps around my neck. as tight as it can. You know what's gonna happen? No, I'm just gonna take him off. That's it. He's not that strong. And again, he's captive bred. So he doesn't look at me as a threat. He doesn't want to waste all his energy trying to take me down. He just soon go away. Or hope that I leave him alone. Now this snake lives in rice paddy fields, and they protect the rice that we eat. And these guys are good swimmers. So this is what we call an aquatic or semi-aquatic snake. So an amazing animal who won't hurt us. Now we've had him for over 15 years now, and we don't know how old he is, but he gets to about 30 years of age. Alright, I got one more to show you. We're going to do a little hands-on with that one. This is our last one, and after this I have one more thing I need to do. For everybody, I have a challenge I need your help with. And these includes the adults as well as the kids. So it is a very important challenge. But first, before we get to that, this here in the wild wouldn't survive very well. They don't survive well. They can exist, but they don't survive well because in the wild they'd be eaten by predators because they can't hide. Most snakes have a natural camouflage. This guy is an albino. And he's an albino boa constrictor. And again, if this snake were to wrap around my neck, he couldn't hurt me. And he doesn't want to. Again, he's a captive bred animal. So I'm going to come over here so you guys can see. No, we don't know. We get our animals in very, very little bit. We can only go, a lot of people go, I got to do something now you won't bite you or anything like that. You hold it right on the knee. This is the right Alright, so I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us in the hall and listening to me babble on about things. I also want to say when you get a chance, please wash your hands. We do have hand sanitizer up here, but wait. Because I think I'll split them up here to get it. Wait one moment. I want to end my show with a very important challenge. Everywhere I go, everybody I meet, I make this challenge to, and I need help with it. Not only do I need you guys to do it every single day for the rest of your lives, but I need you to tell everybody about it. It's that important. I need help with it. I need it to go global. And what it is, it's called Mr. Drew's One Piece Challenge. And it's very, very simple. Every single day, I want every single one of you to simply pick up one piece of trash you find outside and throw it away properly. I only want one piece. And the reason why I ask for one piece is because it's so simple to do. Anybody can do it. But the real reason is if I can get everybody on our planet to pick up one piece of trash in a day, we just picked up 7.8 billion pieces of trash and we didn't even try. Wow. Thank you. If I could get everybody on our planet to pick up one piece of trash every day for 1 year, the number now becomes over 2,737,500,000,000 pieces of trash by picking up one piece every day. If we pick up one piece a day, we guarantee tomorrow's going to be a better day for you, for me, for the animals on the planet, for the planet itself. Every day is our day, not one day a year. And if we all work together, we can make tomorrow better, one piece at a time. Thank you, everybody.